When you buy a new car, your two options are either to lease or to purchase. And Tesla Model Y offers both leasing and purchasing options. So today we are going to break down the numbers behind both options and also the pros and cons. We hope this will help you make the right decision on whether go for purchasing or leasing. So let's get started. So talking about the Tesla Model Y, it starts at $46,190 for the long-range version and goes to $55,190 for the performance version. To compare both the options, we are using a tool called "Should I Lease or Purchase a Car Calculator?" We have also shared the link in the description for your convenience in case you want to use it too. This tool makes calculating the numbers super easy, so now we can start with the purchase price. Let's start calculating for the long-range version. That starts at $46,190. Then it's going to ask for sales tax. Now this varies from state to state depending on where you live. We are taking reference of North Carolina here, that does not have sales tax on new vehicles. So we'll keep 0%. You can check out your applicable sales tax and insert here. Now for the rebate, if your state does offer a rebate for you, then put in here, or if you just want to anticipate the rebate that might be coming from the federal government. So you can definitely put that in as a scenario in this box here. But we are going to leave it at 0 because we are not anticipating any rebates that are available. Then, in title and registration costs, we are just going to do guesswork and put $500. Then for the vehicle depreciation, we are going to leave it at 10% low. Because unlike gas-powered vehicles and other EVs, Teslas have shown to hold their value much better according to this electric article. The Tesla Model 3 retains almost 90% of its value over 3 years. The Tesla Model Y has not been out long enough to get a true depreciation rate, but we would assume it would follow the Model 3's path. Next up, we are going to input the loan information. You can find this on Tesla's website as well and play around with a down payment to see exactly what your payments per month will be. So let's do the 72-month loan term and then the interest rate. If you go through Tesla's website, it's 2.49% and then the vehicle down payment is $4,500. Now we can input the lease information. You can also find this on the Tesla's website. For leasing the Model Y, it's $4,500 down, and that is a fixed cost, so you have to put the $4,500 down. Whereas for the loan you can put $4,500 or you could put more. But for the lease you just have to keep $4,500. Then the terms here are 36 months and then the monthly payment. We would actually pick the middle range, that's 12,000 miles on it, because we think 10,000 is a little low. So at that rate it was $547 per month and then the other fees. If you check the website, it shows $695 as acquisition fees. So we enter it here, and so now that you have everything and all of your information filled out, you can just hit the calculate button. Now it's going to give you a complete breakdown of exactly what your yearly cost would be for each scenario. Now you can see at the top, it says, at the end of your lease in 36 months, you will have a lower yearly cost of $5,147 if you buy the vehicle and take out a loan. This compares to a yearly cost of $8,296 if you lease the vehicle. Now pay attention to these numbers here at the bottom. The yearly loan costs, as you can see, the loan at 36 months, we're only about $5,147 in, whereas at the lease here we're over $8,000. So it does seem like the loan is cheaper overall over the 36 months. Now if we put in the $10,000 rebate from the federal government, that makes it even more wonderful. So here we have the yearly loan cost at $1,622. Now that's a huge savings of that compared to the $8,000. If that's something that you're waiting for, but even if you don't get a rebate, it's still calculating that the yearly loan cost is lower to purchase. So now that you've seen the numbers, let's talk about the pros and cons of leasing versus buying a Tesla Model Y. So let's start with leasing. The first thing is that you get to obviously drive the most new, latest, and greatest edition of the car without needing to worry about any of the maintenance. So this is an awesome feature. It means your car will be covered under the warranty, most likely for your entire lease, so you don't need to worry about anything under the maintenance umbrella. But one thing that Tesla does not offer, that most leases do offer, is actually a buyout option. So Tesla at this time does not offer a buyout option, which basically means that at the end of your lease, they just expect you to send the vehicle back, and then that's the end of the lease. But with that being said, at the end of the day you don't have a car, which is also a great thing in some regards, as then you don't need to worry about selling the car. Also, now granted, there are companies that have now popped up over the last few years that are making selling cars so much easier, like Carvana and CarMax. But it still is one less step that you need to take if you did actually purchase the vehicle. One of the major benefits of a lease is actually maximizing tax deductions if you use your car for business purposes. When you lease a car, you get to deduct the business portion of your expenses of owning and operating the vehicle. This can include your lease payments, charging, repairs and maintenance, and also insurance and registration fees. If you outright purchase the car, you cannot deduct these expenses. But one caveat here is that the market value must be under $50,000. So you could do this with the Model 3, but all other models might not make the cut. We have also seen people opting for a lease because they are unsure of what the EV market will look like in the next 3 years. And we completely agree with this, as we have companies like Rivian and Lucid who are about to release their new vehicles in the next upcoming years, and we don't know what that market really and truly will look like. But that does not mean that Teslas are going to be irrelevant in 3 years either. Currently, Teslas at this point have really held their depreciation rate very low and much better than the average vehicle. And also the technology is evolving so quickly for batteries. But at the same time, if that battery range exceeds the Teslas, then it's still going to be priced at a premium price, and a lot of the population is still not going to be able to afford it. So in our opinion, we still think that there's going to be a place for used Teslas because it does enter in a lower price point. And then at the lower price point, more people will be able to afford Teslas. So we don't think that Teslas are irrelevant, and we don't think it's necessarily something that we need to worry about at this time. If we look back at 2018, Teslas at that point are still relevant today. It's true that they have lower battery capacities and they don't go as far as the Teslas on the market today, but they've held their value really great compared to any gas-powered vehicle. So we don't think this is something necessarily to worry about. We think there's always a place for used vehicles, especially in the EV market. EVs are really hard to get a hold of, and we don't think that the demand for Tesla is going to go down in the future, it's only going to rise in the future. So now let's discuss some final key points about the lease. The first thing is, if you need to break the lease for any reason, then there will be extra charges and extra fees associated with breaking the lease. This is just like breaking a lease of your house or of your condo or apartment. You still usually have to pay fees associated with breaking that binding contract. The second thing is you can't do any modifications to it. If you do, then they need to be reversed upon returning the vehicle. So if you want to tint the windows or if you want to put a wrap on it, those are things that you will not be able to do, as it's not necessarily your car, so you're not going to invest money into something that you can't even keep at the end of the lease. And then, if you make any modifications, most likely they're going to make you reverse those modifications. So that's just something to keep in mind. And the final thing here is, maybe the most important point of them all, is the mileage. Now they do give you options for different mileage amounts for the total of the 3 years, starting at 10,000 miles per year. Many of you people would be fine with 10,000 miles per year, so we think the lease would be okay for you. But we also know many of you drive a lot more than that. And if you do drive a lot more than that and go over mileage, then there are fees associated for every mile that you go over your mileage allotment. So just keep that in mind when you are thinking about a lease, like, how much do you drive? Do you want to do modifications to it? Do you think you can even hold on to this car for 3 years? Are you in a financial position to be able to afford it for the next 3 years? So these are all questions you need to be clear of, whether or not a lease is right for you. And if you are okay with all of those things, then maybe a lease could be the right fit for you. So now let's talk about buying. So purchasing the vehicle, as you can see from the numbers at the beginning, was actually cheaper than leasing the vehicle. So this seems really surprising, but we will also note that there is one variable here, which is the depreciation rate. So we did actually calculate it at 10%, which is what a Tesla Model 3 right now is depreciating at. But we really don't know what the depreciation rate will be in 3 years, so this is just an assumption. But if you do own the vehicle, you can do any modifications you want to it, you can also drive it as much as you want. There's no cap on mileage, and also you don't need to worry about a contract. So at any point, if you want to sell your vehicle, you can do that, no one's holding that against you. So there are some pros here when we are talking about actually purchasing this car. Buying is actually almost about the same price up front as leasing as well. You would think that leasing would have a lower barrier to entry, but really they're about the same. So we will say, one caveat here is the sales tax and taxes on new vehicles, so it will vary from state to state. But overall they are going to be pretty similar, which is very interesting. Also, Tesla has an awesome interest rate of 2.49%, which is really hard to beat. But we will say that purchasing is not always the perfect option. Only you can decide which option is right for you. Also, cars are not an investment, and so only you, at the end of the day, can really decide which option fits your needs the best. We hope this number breakdown helped you understand the math behind leasing versus buying a Tesla and will help you make the right decision. That's it for now. So what are your thoughts about this? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned at the Electric Arena for all the latest Tesla and electric vehicle news.